the World War II survival manual that still keeps people alive today. World War II didn't reward the strongest, the fastest, or the loudest. It rewarded the ones who understood one brutal truth early on. Survival is a skill, and the men who made it home weren't guessing. They were following a survival manual mindset forged under real pressure, tested across continents, and refined by hard lessons paid for in blood. What's unsettling is how well those rules still work today. That's what we're uncovering right now on Hidden Faces of WWII. This wasn't some dusty booklet no one read. It was a living doctrine. Soldiers were trained to survive before they ever fired a weapon. And that training didn't care about hero stories. It cared about outcomes, live or die. That clarity is why these lessons age so well. Survival begins long before danger shows up. World War II soldiers learned early that survival didn't start when things went wrong. It started during routine moments. Boots were checked obsessively, feet were cleaned daily, minor cuts were treated immediately. A small infection could pull a soldier off the line or kill him quietly days later. The manual mindset was ruthless about this. Neglect was weakness, discipline was survival. That idea translates cleanly into modern life. Problems ignored don't disappear. They grow. The soldiers who survived understood that staying ahead of trouble mattered more than reacting to it. One of the most drilled survival skills was movement. Soldiers were trained to avoid skylines, control their silhouettes, and move in ways that didn't attract attention. Speed without awareness was considered dangerous. Slow, deliberate movement kept people alive. Sound discipline mattered just as much. Loose gear, careless steps, unnecessary talking could give away a position. The lesson was simple. If you're predictable, you're exposed. If you're exposed, you're vulnerable. Even outside combat, situational awareness and controlled movement still separate calm decision-makers from people who panic. Food and water were treated like ammunition. World War II survival training didn't glamorize hunger. It respected it. Soldiers were taught never to eat just because food was present. Rations were paced, water was conserved and purified whenever possible. Dehydration and exhaustion killed quietly and efficiently. The manual stressed one core idea: don't wait until you're desperate. Eat and drink to maintain strength, not to satisfy cravings. That rule is still taught in modern survival training for a reason. The body recovers slower than it breaks down. Mental survival was non-negotiable. This is where World War II survival doctrine really separates itself. Soldiers were warned that fear, loneliness, and exhaustion would attack first. Panic caused bad decisions. Hopelessness caused surrender. Discipline kept men moving when logic said stop. They were trained to break overwhelming situations into small, manageable tasks. Get through the next hour. Complete the next objective. Focus forward. This mental framework kept soldiers functional under conditions most people today never experience. That same technique is now used in emergency response and extreme endurance training. Control the mind and survival becomes possible. Shelter mattered more than comfort. World War II soldiers were taught to treat shelter as an emergency priority. Exposure killed fast. Wind, rain, cold and heat claimed lives without firing a shot. Even temporary shelter could mean the difference between functioning and collapsing. The manual emphasized insulation from the ground, protection from weather, and concealment from view. Fancy solutions were ignored, effective ones were embraced. That lesson hasn't aged a day. Shelter buys time, time buys options, and options save lives. Improvisation was expected, not optional. Supply lines failed constantly during World War II. Gear was lost. Conditions shifted overnight. Soldiers were trained to adapt without hesitation. Helmets became cooking tools, clothing became bandages, scrap material became shelter. The manual didn't romanticize equipment. It prioritized thinking. Use what you have. Modify it. Make it work. That mindset still beats expensive gear in real survival situations. Tools matter. Adaptability matters more. Training overrides emotion. World War II survival doctrine drilled one principle relentlessly. Under stress, emotion lies. Training tells the truth. Fear freezes people. Habit moves them forward. Soldiers repeated actions until they became automatic because, well, hesitation was deadly. This principle still defines modern emergency training. Pilots, firefighters and medics rely on drilled responses when adrenaline spikes. World War II understood something fundamental. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what you've practiced. The reason the World War II survival manual refuses to fade is simple. It doesn't rely on technology, comfort or optimism. It assumes things will go wrong. It assumes people will be scared. And it provides tools to function anyway. Human biology hasn't changed. Fear hasn't changed. Nature hasn't changed. Only our expectations have. Strip away modern convenience, and these lessons snap back into relevance immediately. World War II survival wasn't about being fearless. It was about discipline, awareness, and refusing to surrender mentally when conditions turned brutal. These weren't heroic ideals. They were practical rules for staying alive. That's why they still matter, and that's why we study them here. If you value real World War II history that reveals what textbooks leave out, subscribe to Hidden Faces of World War II. Share this with someone who thinks survival is just gear and luck. And stay with us, because the hidden lessons of the past are still shaping who survives today.